Tonight, Anzac Day to be commemorated differently, but the day and its message remain as important as ever. And South Australia's Education Union left red-faced.
From our 7 Spencer Golf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. It's set to be an Anzac Day we'll never forget, and tonight, ahead of tomorrow's commemorations, a 94-year-old Vietnam veteran is sharing why the occasion is so important. We're reminded to not forget the contributions of those who fought and are fighting for our country. While services will be different this year, they're still being held in some form, with many streamed online.
This 94-year-old Whyalla veteran reminiscing on his years of service in the war.
It's one of the most important days of the year, as a memory for everybody.
Usually travelling down to Adelaide to be a part of the Anzac Day March. This year, joining the long list of Whyalla residents watching the Anzac Day broadcast from home.
Oh, well, it's different.
This year is like no other due to the coronavirus and the social distancing rules. But the people of Whyalla can still take part in the commemoration of our Anzacs by paying their respects from their driveways.
Joining the Navy at the age of 17, Raymond was sent to fight for our country in World War II.
Well, I was a radar operator on a sister ship to this one. Actually, there were 56 of those ships built in Australia. They were all named after towns in Australia.
Originally deployed from Adelaide, Raymond worked on a corvette ship called the Goulburn, similar to the maritime ship docked in Whyalla. Now calling the town home for the past 46 years, Raymond is proud to show off his medals of service in the Still City.
Very important. Just proves that I spent some time in one of the services, namely the RAN.
Although he won't be reunited with his veteran family for another year, it doesn't stop Raymond sharing his greatest memories with them.
A very good friend down in Adelaide. He's 97 now. And he and I were both on the same ship.
We are going to be placing a single metal poppy at each of the remembrance plaques on Essington Lewis Avenue, honouring the memory of the 43 Whyalla men who have lost their life in battle.
The online broadcast will be available at 6 in the morning. And although this local hero will be watching, this year he has one condition.
I won't be getting up at 5 o'clock though.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Port Lincoln driver has had 2 run-ins with police today. The P-plater was pulled over just after 11 this morning and allegedly returned a positive reading for cannabis and methamphetamines. The 28-year-old woman was issued with a direction not to drive, but an hour later she was spotted behind the wheel. It's alleged the driver ran from police. She was found a short time later and charged with a raft of offences. She's due to face the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court at a later date. South Australia's Education Union has been left red-faced after an online post which targeted the state's chief medical officer. The post, which received severe backlash, was against Nicole Spurrier after she encouraged parents to send children to school next week. The union says the government can't guarantee students and staff will be safe and wants schools to remain closed. The post has since been deleted. South Australia's space race has faced the threat of having its dreams cut short after small launch facilities were identified by the Pentagon as one of the hardest hit companies by the coronavirus outbreak. Adelaide Space Industries Southern Launch says it's still reaching for the stars though, planning to forge ahead with its Eyre Peninsula launch facility. Nathan Rector has the details.
Aviation, shipbuilding and small launch sectors, 3 industries the United States of Defence has identified as the hardest hit by coronavirus. It's not good news for South Australia's space race, with industry slowly grinding to a halt.
Operations have slowed down, like a lot of locations or companies around the country, simply because we've taken the decision that all of our offices are closed and everyone's working from home.
Adelaide-based company Southern Launch has its sights on the stars with the proposed orbital rocket facility at Whalers Way, 30 kilometres south of Port Lincoln. The company says the early stage in development has meant it hasn't been as heavily impacted by the pandemic.
A lot of the site surveys have been completed, so we were in the stage to write up a lot of the findings before we can then present that for formal public consultation.
Last year, the company secured its first customer, with South Korean company Perigi Aerospace locked in to use the Whalers Way facility. Despite international travel bans, Southern Launch says the partnership will still be able to go ahead.
Due to the joys of internet, we can still do virtual meetings and instantaneously connect with companies and teams around the world and progress designs.
Globally, the space industry is worth $330 billion US. The local community hoping some of that will trickle down on the Eyre Peninsula. Southern Launch says despite the COVID-19 setback, it still plans to have liftoff by the end of the year.
That's our goal. Once again, it'll all be based on how things pan out with the pandemic.
The company hopes to release public consultation for the project in the coming months.
The Australian Federal Police is encouraging parents to be aware of what their children are doing online, especially with an increase of students staying home during the pandemic. Authorities are urging people to remember no children are immune to online child exploitation, with perpetrators disguised as all kinds of people.
From our perspective, and being a parent and grandparent myself, that you take the time to become aware of what your children are doing online, who they are engaging with, because unfortunately there are a number of drawbacks.
Authorities say safe child prevention programs such as Think You Know and the Carly Ryan Foundation can offer support. Still to come tonight, banners made locally to commemorate Anzac Day, and Uni Hub welcomes a new staff member to support its students. Welcome back. Australians are being urged to honour our servicemen and women tomorrow by standing in their driveways at dawn as traditional services are cancelled. The day will be an unusual one, but still millions of people across the country will reflect on the sacrifices made and our nation's strong military history.
Anzac Day is a time for these Port Pirie RSL members to be honoured for their time serving, but this year the commemorations will be done differently.
Stand at the end of their driveway about 5 to 6 in the morning, and at 6 o'clock play the last post on their phone and turn their torches on their phone.
All residents to stand on their driveways and respect those who fought for Australia.
A bit of a sign of the time, so what I encourage people in our neighbourhood to do is to walk to the end of your driveway and play the last post.
Using this Anzac Day app, residents across the region can follow a nationwide ceremony.
But also, if you have an opportunity, perhaps place something online to actually commemorate what you feel is good about the Anzac memory.
Travelling across the Yorke Peninsula, this local MP says it's important to honour those who fought for our country during these trying times.
Vitally important that we get out and pay our respects to the service men and women that sacrifice to ensure that we enjoy such a high quality of life in Australia today.
Residents are encouraged to download the free app to honour the soldiers who fought for Australia and right now the healthcare workers that are on the front line.
Those on the front line of the coronavirus, doctors, nurses and professors and medical staff.
Also thanking those who battled through Australia's horror bushfire season.
Firefighters and other emergency service personnel deserve to be acknowledged, especially in these current times, and they will be done deservingly so in the future.
During this difficult time, members at the Port Pirie RSL say they'll continue to support elderly members.
There's a lot of people that live on their own, that thrive on contact with the RSL community, so it's important that we stay in touch.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Port Augusta business is printing banners to be put on display for Anzac Day. Part of the sales will be donated to the Port Augusta RSL, who's had to close its doors for now due to the coronavirus.
The idea only thought of at the start of the week. Making Anzac Day banners, $20 of each sale going straight to the RSL.
So we thought, well, there's something we can do to give them a little bit of money. I know it's only a small drop, but I think anything helps, so we're quite proud to do that.
Tony Mitchell, the owner of Ross Signs, put together the banners in just a matter of days.
At the moment, we've printed 30. So, you know, we're quite happy that we can donate $600 of that to the local Port Augusta RSL.
The Port Augusta RSL president was thrilled when he got the call.
It's a great idea. Yeah, it's a real novel concept, and I think it's great. You know, people can relate to it and keep them. You know, it's a good keepsake. It'll last for a long time.
With Anzac Day commemorators usually filling this room, this year will be very different.
Disappointing, but at the same time exciting. It'll be something different, and I think it's brought a lot more people out to help celebrate it.
And the banners have even made their way out of the state.
We've had banners go as far as Adelaide, Darwin, Quorn and Hawker and a lot in Port Augusta, so we're really happy with that.
It'd be good. It'd be very uplifting for a lot of ex-servicemen, I think.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
As the number of students grow at the Port Augusta Uni Hub campus, the tertiary education facility has welcomed a new staff member. The new role will see Shannon Pillion as the new coordinator to assist current and potential students with their studies.
Working in the education industry for over 2 decades, Shannon Pillion has helped thousands of students with their learning.
So this was another step in that journey, and it's a huge opportunity for people within our region to gain tertiary qualifications.
Now looking forward to working at the Uni Hub campus.
It's an amazing group of people that are really looking to engage with the community, looking to engage with the students to ensure that they have the best opportunities. So it's really exciting, not just to work with the people, but for the role itself. I'm really excited.
Shannon's background making her a perfect fit.
Shannon's experience in the education sector, tertiary education sector, is absolutely invaluable to us. She's just it means that she can just walk straight into the job and understands, what we're trying to achieve.
She'll be answering any student queries, whether it be current or potential students.
And it assists them through those areas that they may not be used to dealing with, including enrolment, tutorials, mentors, everything really.
The campus officially opened last month, but is now, like other universities around the nation, using online platforms. However, this won't be putting a halt on any communication.
I think that's what makes the Uni Hub unique, is the assistance that we can provide from the students from when they first expressed interest in doing a course with through the Uni Hub.
Shannon part of the growing campus, student enrolment doubling in the last year. Now 24 students are currently enrolled at the campus.
So really strong interest up here in Port Augusta, and having Shannon on board now is just going to be really helpful to us to make sure that we can provide that support to students.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 30-year-old Paws Plain man has been ordered to face court on charges of theft following a police raid yesterday morning. Patrols arrived at the property at around 11:30, but the man had allegedly fled. He was later arrested in a paddock nearby. Police allege they found a list of prohibited items, among those 2 Holden sedans, a taser and an amount of methamphetamine. Whyalla Council's road sealing program is in full swing, with new asphalt being laid on multiple roads around the town. Borrell's asphalt crew have been working hard on the $14.4 million upgrade, which will see resealing on high traffic roads. It's part of Council's 3-year roadworks program, resulting in more than 40 kilometres worth of works over 40 roads. Various traffic restrictions will continue to be in place around town, with works expected to be completed in May. The company will also be laying new asphalt in Port Pirie starting next Thursday. Stay with us after the break. Port Lincoln locals get creative in isolation and police sharpening their pencils for a special competition in the Mid-North. Hello again. Organisers of Port Lincoln's annual Fame Awards are encouraging locals to get creative while they're stuck at home, with entries now open for this year's competition. Locals are now taking on the challenge, pulling out the camera to capture life in isolation.
From self-isolation at his Port Lincoln home, Ronald Suing is keeping busy editing and creating short films and videos during the pandemic. With technology at his fingertips and plenty of spare time, he says it's a good way to keep busy.
Being in isolation is pretty cool actually, because you start to see more creativity. You have a different type of approach in your creativity because you're stuck at home and there's not too many things you can do.
From being crowned last year's winner at the town's annual Fame Awards, Ronald is back in it again.
It allows us, I guess, small content creators to be locally recognised, and nothing means more than being recognised, but on a local basis.
Organisers of the iconic film competition says now more than ever is the perfect opportunity to dust off the camera and start filming, with submissions for the annual awards now open.
So it's a great task, I guess, to keep yourself busy and entertained during these crazy times.
The Fame Awards recognises the filmmaking talent of people of all ages in the community, from drama to music to comedy. There is plenty of categories.
Encouraging everyone to enter. There is an under 15s category, so perfect for the kids while they're at home.
The awards night is the major fundraiser for the Port Lincoln City Band, with $2,500 raised last year. Organisers say they're full steam ahead with this year's competition, earmarked for July, but admit they may have to reschedule.
Well, hopefully they'll go ahead. They might be postponed a bit, depending on the circumstances, but we're still encouraging people to enter. So create a short film, a music video, and enter in the competition.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A different job is on the cards for York Mid-North Police, who'll be getting their pencils ready for a new colouring in competition. They're encouraging Port Pirie children to get involved and get creative.
They're here to protect us, but now too for keeping our younger generation entertained. Police in the Mid-North thinking up a colouring in competition, particularly for those in isolation.
So it's for the kids at home, so people who are stuck at home at the moment, just something to keep kids busy. So it's colouring in competition and it's of Angus the watchdog.
Using an array of colours, these eager littlies wasting no time putting their pencils to paper.
Blue, 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 red, red, orange, pink, yellow, purple.
The Blue Light Committee say they work to develop a healthy relationship with children by hosting events around the Mid-North, working to change the perception that members of our police force only do one thing.
They get someone if they're naughty.
It's mainly about building that relationship with kids and allowing them to grow up and know that police are humans and we can be friends with them and they can chat to us at any time about anything.
These constables thinking outside the square to get the competition up and running. Apparently age is no factor, with officers eager to get involved themselves.
Any age really. I know I saw it and I wanted to colour it in, but yeah, so it's just any kids.
And as an added incentive to keep colouring between the lines, there's prizes up for grabs.
3 prizes to be won, and it's spread out over each group, but it's like a gift basket, so it's filled with lots of goodies.
More information can be found on the SAPOL website. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Members of the Broken Hill Health Service have received a nice surprise today, with gift bags donated to say thank you for their hard work and dedication. The generous act has been organised by staff at the local YMCA as a way of giving back.
By the pallet, they were brought in.
And we were all taken aback and very surprised and very grateful, and the bags have arrived.
The Broken Hill YMCA team donating 104 gift bags as a way of saying thank you to the health service's hard-working staff. Inside, a wide variety of goodies that will be given to the city's health workers.
There's a cup and a tea bag and some lollies, which I'm particularly interested in, and a packet of chips and a water bottle and a soft drink.
Miss Welsh has praised health service staff for all the work they're doing during this challenging time. The gift bags paving the way for a health worker wellbeing room to be set up at the hospital.
They're just feeling a bit down, bit stressed, a bit panicky, a bit anxious, anything that just isn't quite their normal self. They can just pop into this room, have a chat to some people, get some information if they need it, and grab a bag.
The YMCA Centre Manager was unavailable for interview today, but in her message to the health service, she said the team is very appreciative of everything the staff is doing to keep the community safe. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta Police are calling on the public for information following a recent crash where one of the drivers allegedly ran from the scene before emergency services arrived. The crash, which happened at the intersection of Victoria Parade and Flinders Terrace, involved a dark grey Ford SUV and a red Holden SUV. Anyone who witnessed the incident or has any information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, Brit will join us with your weekend weather. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at the weather with Brit.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. We've had a fine and partly cloudy end to the week, Whyalla reaching a top of 21 today, Broken Hill 24, Port Pirie 23. Let's take a look now around the rest of the region today, with maximums in the early 20s across the board. From the satellite, a high over the Eyre Peninsula kept skies fairly clear today. But moving on to tomorrow with winds south to southwesterly on the Gulf waters at 10 to 15 knots, becoming variable at around 10 knots in the middle of the day, seas below 1 metre. A partly cloudy morning at Port Lincoln for your Anzac Day, with showers increasing through the afternoon and evening. A possible thunderstorm later in the day, looking at a top of 24 degrees. Much the same at Woodna with a top of 30, Cleve morning fog with rain developing in the evening, 28 the top there. Whyalla morning fog clearing to a partly cloudy day before those late showers come in, a top of 29 degrees. Mostly sunny at Port Augusta with a possible late shower, 31. Kadina rain increasing and 25. Port Pirie partly cloudy with late rain and a top of 28. Similar conditions at Clare, 25. Remaining dry at Broken Hill, looking mostly sunny with a top of 25 degrees. Taking a quick look ahead at Sunday now, with morning rain expected about the York Peninsula, Mid-North and Flinders forecast districts. Elsewhere, a slight chance of early showers, but looking partly cloudy through the day. Monday, partly cloudy with some morning fog about the Mid-North and Flinders areas, maximums in the early 20s. Tuesday, looking mostly fine across the region, apart from a possible shower about the lower Eyre Peninsula. Temperatures warming slightly with maximums a couple of degrees higher than Monday. And Louise, that is your Friday weather. Stay safe and stay home this weekend.
Thank you for that, Brit. And that's your local news this Friday evening. We'll leave you tonight with some vision of those across the Spencer Gulf who will be commemorating Anzac Day tomorrow. Have a safe weekend. Good night.